There is a tire sitting on a rack in a shop in your town right now that will pass every federal safety test on the books and still come apart on you at 70 miles an hour in August. The name stamped on the sidewall has almost nothing to do with whether that happens. Four little numbers most folks have never once looked at have almost everything to do with it. So how do you find those numbers, standing in the shop with your wallet already out and a man waiting on you? It was August, Interstate 40, about 20 miles west of Amarillo. I had a bed full of fence posts and my daughter asleep against the window with her shoe off. The right rear let go so fast I never heard it come apart. I felt it. The back end of that truck went heavy and started walking toward the shoulder like it had somewhere else to be. I got it stopped. We were fine. I sat there on the gravel with the flashers going and the heat coming up off the pavement in waves, and I walked back about 60 yards and picked up what was left of that tire. The tread was laying there in one long strip like a snake. The casing was still on the rim, and the tread on it, when I measured it later out of habit, was 8/32. 8. That is a tire with plenty of life left in it by every measure anybody had ever taught me to look at. My name is Ray Duggan. I ran a tire shop for 31 years. Mounted them, balanced them, patched them, and cut a fair number of them in half on a bandsaw just to see what was going on inside. And I am telling you that the tire that came apart on me out there was not a cheap tire. It was not a bad brand. It was a tire I had bought at a good price from a good shop because the price was good. And the reason the price was good was sitting right there on the sidewall the whole time, in a place I never bothered to look, stamped into the rubber. Plain as day. I had walked past it 1,000 times a week for 11 years, and I had never once read the thing that mattered most. Quick word before I go further. The old methods my family uses, there is more of it than fits in any one video. I gathered the whole of it into a book you can buy in our pinned comment below. The book is the long version. If you want it, it is there. I will not mention it again. Here is what I want you to picture. You walk into a tire shop. There is a board on the wall with prices on it. There is a fellow behind the counter who is friendly and probably honest. And he tells you what most fellows behind that counter tell you, which is that these here are the same tire as those there, just cheaper. And on paper, he is not lying to you. Both of them met the federal standard. Both of them have a warranty printed on a card. Both of them will hold air on the drive home. He is not trying to hurt you. He is telling you what he was told, but he is measuring the wrong thing. And so are you, and so was I. For about the first 11 years I was in that business. Because here is the question nobody asks, and everybody should. When a tire fails at highway speed, what actually broke? Was it the rubber you can see, or was it something underneath it you cannot? Let me tell you what is inside a tire, because once you understand it, the rest of this falls into place, and you will never shop for tires the same way again. A tire is not one thing, it is a stack of things glued together. There is a rubber liner on the inside that holds the air. Then there is fabric. Then there are steel belts, 2 of them usually, laid across each other at an angle. Then more rubber on top of that, and that top layer is the tread, the part you look at, the part with the grooves in it. Every one of those layers is bonded to the layer next to it. The whole tire is held together by that bond and nothing else. There is no bolt. There is no weld. There is glue and heat and pressure, and that is it. Now, that bond does not fail because you drove on it. That bond fails because of oxygen. Air gets through the liner, slowly, over years, but it gets through. And oxygen works on the rubber between those steel belts. The same way it works on a rubber band you left in a kitchen drawer for 10 years. You pull that rubber band out and it snaps in your fingers. It did not snap because you used it, it snapped because it sat. The federal safety people have studied this. Their research found that tires break down from the inside out, and that heat makes it happen faster. They pulled tires off vehicles in hot country, Phoenix and places like it, and ran them on the endurance and high-speed machines against brand new tires of the exact same model. The old ones failed markedly sooner. Not because they were worn, they failed sooner because they were old and because they had been baked. So think about what that means for what you can see. Tread depth tells you how much rubber is left on the outside. It tells you nothing at all about the glue on the inside. My tire out there west of Amarillo had 8/32 of tread and a casing that was 11 years old. It looked new. It was not new. It was a rubber band in a drawer. And here is the sharp contrast I want you to hold on to, because it is the whole video in one line. A brand new $89 tire is safer than a 7-year-old $220 tire. Every single time. No exceptions. The badge on the side is marketing. The date is the truth. That is the counterintuitive part. Everybody argues about brands. Everybody has an uncle with an opinion about brands. And meanwhile, the thing that will actually put your truck in the ditch is a 4-digit number that nobody in the argument has looked at. So folks asked me to name 5 brands I would never put on my truck, and I am going to do you one better than that. Because a brand name is a moving target. Companies get bought, plants change hands. A brand that was junk in 2006 might be built in a modern plant today, and a brand you trust might have quietly moved production somewhere you never heard of. Chasing brand names is chasing smoke. So instead, I am going to name you 5 tires, and they do not care what name is printed on them, and I would not put a one of them on my truck for any money. Number 1, any tire with a date code more than 2 years old sitting on the rack when I buy it. Brand new to you, already aging. Shops call it new old stock. It has been sitting in a hot warehouse getting older, and nobody knocked $1 off the price for it. Number 2, a retreaded tire on a light truck that runs highway speeds. Retreads have a place on some equipment. My pickup is not that place. Number 3, a trailer tire on a pickup. They are marked ST on the sidewall, and ST means special trailer. Different casing, different job, not built to steer or to run, loaded at 70 for 6 hours. Number 4, a passenger-rated tire on a work truck that hauls. Look at the front of the size on the sidewall. If it starts with a P, that is a passenger tire. If it starts with LT, that is a light truck tire. Put a P tire under a load, and you have quietly taken away a chunk of the weight it can carry. Number 5, and this is the one people fight me on. Any tire from a badge, I cannot find a United States phone number for. Let me tell you why that last one matters. Because there is a story behind it that ought to be better known than it is. Back in 2007, a small importer in New Jersey found a problem with light truck tires it had been bringing in. It reported the problem itself, and the Federal Safety Agency ordered a recall of as many as 450,000 tires. Here is the part that should stop you cold. The plant that built them had no corporate offices and no representatives in this country, so there was nobody here to recall anything. The little importer, the one that had raised its hand, got named the manufacturer of record and got handed the bill. Its own lawyers put the cost at around $80 million and said the company would have to go bankrupt to pay it. In the end, about 255,000 tires got recalled. That is the whole lesson right there. A warranty is only worth the company standing behind it. If there is no company standing here, there is no warranty. There is a piece of paper. All right, enough about what not to buy. Let me walk you through exactly what I do in the order I do it, and then I will name you the 5 that actually go the distance. First thing, read the date. Go out to your truck tonight with a flashlight and find the letters DOT on the sidewall, down close to the rim. After DOT, there is a string of letters and numbers. Ignore all of it except the last 4 digits. First 2 are the week. Last 2 are the year. 3322 means the 33rd week of 2022. Here is the trick that catches people. On most tires, that full code is molded on one side only, and half the time it is the inboard side, the side facing under the truck. If you cannot find it on the outside, turn your wheel hard and look on the inside with the light. It is there, and check all 4, because they are almost never from the same batch. And check your spare, because your spare is the same age as your truck, and everybody forgets it. Second, the 2 and 6 rule. I do not buy a tire more than 2 years old off the rack. I do not run a tire past 6 years on the road, no matter how the tread looks. And at 10 years, it is done, period. Even if it has never touched pavement. That is not me being fussy. That is close to what the industry itself publishes. Every major maker tells you to get tires looked at hard around 5 or 6 years and off the truck by 10. The trick here is what to do with the information. You do not argue with the counterman. You just ask him, before he pulls anything off the rack, to tell you the date codes on the set. If he will not, or he acts put out about it, that is your answer about that shop, and you can go somewhere else. It takes him 90 seconds. Good shops do it without blinking. Third, match the load range to the work. On a truck sidewall, you will see a letter, C or D or E. E is stiffest and carries the most. C rides softer and carries less. If you tow, if you haul, if you have got a slide-in camper or a bed full of anything heavy, you want E. Here is the insight most folks miss. Running the correct load range is not about the tire being tough enough to survive. It is about the tire running cooler. An underbuilt tire under a load flexes more. Flexing makes heat, and heat is what kills the glue inside. You are not buying strength, you are buying temperature. Fourth, air pressure, and I am going to be blunt with you. This is the single biggest killer of tires in this country, and it costs nothing to fix. Buy a decent pencil gauge or a small digital one, $4 to $12. Check all 5 tires cold, once a month, first thing in the morning, before you drive anywhere, because driving 3 miles will warm them and lie to you by a few pounds. The trick nobody tells you is that the light on your dash is not a warning system. The federal rule only requires that light to come on when a tire is 25% below the placard pressure. 25% low is not a little low. On a truck running 80 SI, that is 20 pounds gone. By the time that light glows, you have already been cooking the inside of that tire for weeks. Fifth, rotate it. Every 5 to 7,000 miles, and if that is hard to remember, do it every other oil change. Even wear buys you tens of thousands of miles, and it is usually free where you bought the tires. Now, the 5 that last. I will tell you what I have watched come back into my shop with treads still on them, and what the independent testing people have found, and where the two agree. The Michelin Defender LTX M and S is the one I have put on more trucks than any other tire in my life. Depending on size, it carries a tread wear rating up to 800 and a mileage, warranty up to 70,000. It is a boring tire. Boring is what you want. The Michelin Defender 2, for the lighter stuff and half tons that never see gravel, carries an 80,000 mile warranty and a tread wear rating of 840. And the big independent testing outfit projected 100,000 miles of tread life out of it, which is the longest they have measured on any tire they have tested. The Michelin LTX AT2, if you want a tire with some bite for gravel and mud, but you still drive it home on pavement every day. Same testers projected around 80,000 miles. The Continental Terrain Contact, in the HT for highway, or the AT for a bit of rough, projected around 65,000 miles, good braking dry, good in the wet. And for the 5th, I want to name a value 1, because not everybody is buying a $200 tire, and I am not going to pretend otherwise. The Hankook Kinergy XP got called out by those same testers as the smart, cheaper alternative, scoring well across most categories at better than $60 a tire less. Owners rate it lower than the Michelin, so you are giving up some ride and some quiet. But it is a real tire, from a real company with a real phone number in this country, and that puts it in a different world than the $50 special. Now let me zoom out, because there is a bigger thing here than tires. Run the numbers with me. Say a good tire runs you 220 and gives you 70,000 miles. 4 of those is $880, plus about 100 to mount and balance. $980, and you are done for 7 years. Now the cheap one. $90, and you get 25,000 out of it. If you are lucky, $360 a set. But you need almost 3 sets to cover the same 70,000 miles. That is about 1,080 in tires and 300 in mounting. $1,380, plus 3 separate afternoons of your life sitting in a waiting room. The cheap tire cost you $400 more and gave you less. That is the thing about cheap. Cheap is rarely cheap. It is just spread out where you cannot see it all at once. And then there is the part that is not about money. The biggest tire recall this country ever had covered around 14.5 million tires back in the year 2000, and the thing that caused it was tread separation. Same failure mode I picked up off the gravel outside Amarillo. Federal investigators later concluded a defect existed in a particular tire used on big motorhomes, and the agency said the maker had received claims involving 8 deaths tied to failures of that one tire. The maker disagreed. The agency did not. I am not telling you that to scare you. I am telling you so you understand what we are actually talking about when we talk about tires. This is not brake pads. This is not a filter. Here is what my old boss told me my first week in that shop, and I did not understand it until Amarillo. He said, "Ray, everything else on that truck touches the truck. The tires are the only part that touches the world. 4 patches of rubber, each one about the size of your open hand. That is the whole conversation. Everything the engine does, everything the brakes do, everything the steering wheel does. It all goes through 4 handprints of rubber and nothing else. So here is what I want you to do tonight before you go to bed. Grab a flashlight, go out to the truck, find the DOT code on all 4 tires, and on the spare in the bed or under the back. Turn the wheel if you have to. Write the 4 numbers down on a scrap of paper and stick it in your glove box. If any of them come back older than 6 years, you have got a decision to make, and now you can make it with your eyes open instead of finding out on the shoulder with the flashers going. Then come down to the comments and tell me the numbers you found and what you are driving. I read them. I want to know how many of you find a spare that is older than your youngest child, because I promise you, a bunch of you will. Next time, I am going to show you the one thing I did in the shop that told me more about a customer's whole truck than any scan tool ever did. And it took 11 seconds and cost nothing. It is the trick every good tire man knows and nobody explains. And once you can read it, you will be able to walk up to any used truck on any lot and know things about it. The fellow selling it does not know you know. Until then, check your date codes, keep your air right, and remember that the only thing between you and the road is 4 handprints of rubber. Take care of them.